Welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. We do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. My name is Chana. With me, as always, we got Joe.
What's
Aaron,
up?
and I got a mouthful of food if you didn't notice.
You're already eating. Somebody already commented on one of our other videos. I think on FOMOs, you're like, how come Chana's not eating?
Yeah, I know.
Like, this guy thinks he's Brad Pitt, man.
You boy.
I
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's always eating in every movie scene.
I sent him a link to a video of a compilation of Brad Pitt just eating.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty funny. Yeah,
I like it.
Pretty hilarious. Who do we have in the chat here? We got Know Nothing. 40F here, and I'm in Canada. What's going on?
Oh, we're talking about weather. We're talking about like what's the weather like in different places right now.
Because that was like 40 female in Canada. That's like the chat room, back in the day, like AOL and stuff.
40 female. That's pretty good.
In Canada. What is up, Marv? We've got Double A in the house. Everyday Jay, what's going on? Dugan, what's going on, buddy? Steven, how are you doing? You guys are talking about the weather. Tim Perry,
man.
What's shaking, man? He says it's getting cold. Getting cold, yeah.
Yeah, where he is, I'm sure.
I wouldn't know about that anymore.
No,
Yeah.
it looks nice and sunny over there. In France,
Here in Spain.
Yeah, dude.
Italy or whatever you.
Now in Spain, I can change countries. Okay. But yeah, Victor Boyd, what's going on? Wendell in the house. Hello. And Aaron, man, it's good to see you, bro.
Yeah, man. Likewise. I like your new setup.
Hey, thank you.
Good. I liked two things. Number one, I liked your video, Chana, on the haters, the Facebook stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty good. And then I liked y'all's combined video. I laughed out loud when Chana busts over and knocks Joe out of the way. And then Joe's face, like when Chana's talking about the Black Friday, like one more day. Joe's face is like, man, give him that stada.
We had to do that a couple times.
Very end, he gives a thumbs up too. It's like,
yeah.
So behind the scenes of that, so that was part of an ad actually that we were running for Cyber Monday, which we'll get into.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's we kind of planned all that, because we've been doing I'm gonna let you finish type of deal, and so yeah, basically he interrupts me, and then I think one time like something dropped. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let's drop some stuff. So as he's hitting me, I'm actually like dropping like the tripod and stuff like that to make it add a little humor. You know what I mean? I think we can't take ourselves too seriously. We're talking about audio stuff. How serious can we really be?
Not serious at all. Not serious at all. But since we just Aaron just brought it up, we are doing a Cyber Monday sale for the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit. Get 15% off. SpatialCD.com. Use the code Cyber15. That's the ad, and that's what Aaron was talking about. The ad where I just Joe's like, on his keyboard, I'm gonna get this Black Friday sale over this toolkit. Wait a second, and I push him over. I'm gonna let you finish, but it's Monday, dude. Black Friday's over.
Yeah, we have fun, and the thing is that like I think it comes through in the videos. Like we're seriously like just laughing. Like we're not serious at all. Like I don't know.
I mean, we're serious about you guys buying the most revolutionary home theater product that has ever existed in the past 5 years. But we're serious about that. but yeah, man, it's so much fun. It's funny too because friends will be like, so what have you been doing? I'm like, I'm hanging out with a buddy of mine, and we're just kind of making ads and shooting some videos. They're like, shooting videos. Okay,
ads.
Yeah, ads. What does that mean?
Yeah. I actually had somebody come up. It doesn't happen very often, but I mentioned it in the after show in our Daily HiFi Crew.
Oh, right.
That we're going swimming at the community pool, and like so the lifeguard says, "Hey, Joe and Tell." I guess I was wearing my Hi-Fi Summit shirt, and it's weird because I'm used to it. Like if we go to an audio show, yeah, you kind of expect that, But sometimes out of nowhere, you're like, oh, yeah, that's okay. I don't know what to say. Like it's weird because somebody knows you, but you don't know them.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah. So I wouldn't like that if I was like a a celebrity. I was just imagine you go anywhere and almost everybody knows you. That's such a unnatural thing, I think. You know, you go somewhere, all these people know you, you don't know anybody, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know.
Dude, I mean, that happened to me on Wednesday night randomly. Like, it was crazy. Guys, I went to this event to see this DJ buddy of mine playing, and I went to the bar to get a drink, and somebody's like, "Hey, are you Chana?" I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Hey, dude, it's been like so much." And he didn't know me from YouTube. He knew me from just being out in LA, you know, like 15 years ago. I was just like, "What?" I'm like, "No way, dude. I don't know, man." And he's like, "No, you're Chana De Silva, and you know, you're a DJ and all this." And I'm like, "What?
No,
Like, who are you?" I'm like,
never
"No."
heard of her.
There you go. There you go, Aaron.
Sorry.
I got
So
the
yeah,
sound back, so
today I released that upfiring video that I've been working on. It's like 30 minutes. Because I think a lot of it just because I'm doing a full demo of my different systems. So I have a living room system. So I did one in there, and I played our toolkit up and over test track to just let people know using binaural recording to see how it sounds. Like, do you actually hear hype? I did. I don't know what you guys are hearing, but you should be able to hear that. And then I did one here in the studio, and I did one in my garage home theater. And you know, your video, Chana, actually helped me out because you know you posted your new setup, and of course it's not the most beautiful, most professional looking setup in the world, but I'm sure it sounds good. But after I'm like, you know what, my systems aren't perfect either. You know, they're not ideal either, but it doesn't mean I can't show them. You know, I think part of it is just being innovative and trying to figure out how do I solve these little problems that I have. I need to run a wire over here. Well, I don't want to run, you know, I can't show the wire, you know, things like that. What do you have to do? You have to put speakers on mic stands and put them on other speakers, then that's what you got to do at the moment.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
You know,
Pretty funny. I mean, it's essentially what I had going on in the studio, except you couldn't see the other speakers down there because you just saw like this speaker out of nowhere just yeah, maybe I'll get rid of the speakers. And then the subwoofers that came in are just like, Joe's like, yeah, just put them there. I'm like, nah, dude, these subwoofers are way too nice for me.
Yeah, you don't want to put the stands on them. Yeah,
they're kind of heavy. Those bases on those mic stands are
okay, they're legit.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this upfiring video, basically, I had you come by and we compared, you know, your voice to how it sounds in my room, and that actually taught me something that I want to talk about in a bit. But I had fun. It was a fun video, and people seem to like it. Yeah. What was the arms at the beginning? Because you're squatting down, you got your arms straight out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, arms, Joe. I noticed your arms. It's like Joe been working out a little bit.
No, I have not been working out. Maybe those are rental speakers. You know what I mean?
You're just in bulking phase, right?
Yeah.
You're just in bulk.
Exactly.
No, man, you look like you were kind of trimmed up. I was like, oh, Joe got some guns on him a little bit.
I appreciate that, but no, I have not been working out. Maybe lack of sleep and forgetting to eat or something. But no, we're having a good time. We're having a good time over here, having Chana walking up and down ladders. At a few points, I just started cracking up because it's just too funny, man. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
He's over here
having too much fun.
I'm playing the recording of him in the height channel, and then I'm saying, all right, repeat that exact same thing in the same way. So that leads to the next thing I want to talk about. It's kind of like I think a quick and dirty method of checking to see if your tonality of your system is good. And it comes from that part because I was comparing to see how he actually sounded to a recording of him. Now, the issue there is that he's using a Shure SM7B, and that thing, it's not a flat response. Like, you know, they try to tweak the frequency response to make the voice pop out a little bit more and sound nice and smooth on the low end, things like that.
Smooth.
So I was thinking, you know what? The U mic, even without calibration, is pretty flat, right? When we talk about circle of confusion, if you've ever heard people talk about that, that means that it's hard to determine whether your system is accurate based on a recording because you don't know how the recording was done.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to complete that loop. But you can kind of do that if you have a U mic. If you have a U mic one, the response is pretty accurate. All right, even without calibration. If you record, let's say somebody in your house, let's say you know, I don't know, your significant other, it has to be somebody else. So you record them talking into this mic, right? And then if you play that back on a single speaker at a time and have them stand next to that speaker, then you can kind of see, like, do they sound similar? So now you've taken out a lot of the issues. So if you recorded with a U mic, it's not doing anything EQ wise. If you just record straight into your computer, and then when you play it back, what am I trying to say? when you play it back, the main difference that you're gonna notice though is if you have your system tuned correctly, the tonality of the voice should sound very similar. The only difference now is the directivity and the dispersion pattern of the human voice, the person talking, versus the speaker. So that's different. You can't avoid that. But tonally, it should sound very similar. And the one thing I noticed in my video is playing back the same thing, it sounds different in all the rooms. And it's easy to test that when you're editing a video because you can do them back to back. You don't have to remember how did it sound over there. Right? It just switches. I went living room, studio, garage, home theater, right? And you can hear them and the voice sounded different in all of them. But if I had Chana talk in all those different rooms, his voice also sounds different in every room, right? So it shouldn't sound the same in every room. And even when I'm talking through my, the camera mic, it does sound different in every room also. So I think that's a good, quick and dirty method that you can use to see if the tonality of your system is good. Right? I always say the reality is your reference, right? So when you can have somebody there talking, you have a recording using an accurate mic, that part's important, and you play it back on your system that's supposed to be accurate, the two should sound very similar. So anyway.
Reality should be your reference. That's great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Any comments on that? Like, Aaron, what do you think? Is there any issues with that method?
I don't know, man.
Because
I was watching.
Really directivity.
Look at him. Look at his forehead's getting all red. He's like, I don't know.
He got me. He was talking about the directivity of the human voice versus the tonality.
You're our who's the smart on what was that show on K-Rock, the Love Line? You're Dr. Drew.
He's Dr. Drew. Oh,
you're Dr. Drew, bro.
He's Dr. Drew.
I gotta put you on the spot, ask you like the questions I don't know the answers to, and hope you have the answer. Oh no.
Ask me in a more succinct way.
Okay, how about this?
That makes it sound like I was paying attention and puts it in him.
It's all right. It's all right. I just talked for like 5 minutes about it, so I don't know how to make that more succinct. That's the best I could possibly do.
I feel bad. I was actually uploading a video.
I don't know.
I know I'm terrible. But I did hear what you were saying. You were talking about basically the directivity, like the balloon of a human voice, right?
Basically, I was saying if I record somebody with a U mic, pretty accurate mic, and then I play it back on a system. If you sit at your main listening position and have that same person talk next to the speaker, the tonality should be very similar between the two. If they sound wildly different, well, your system is probably
something in the chain is not right.
Yeah. So it's just a quick and dirty method. But what would be interesting, I think, is like, what is the directivity of somebody talking?
Of a human voice? Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Tool's got that in his book.
Can you just have Chana go and then turn all the way around and put him on the Whipple or something like that? Sit him on the Whipple.
Running voice directivity.
Can you just do that?
I wonder if it's like a standard monopole speaker, where it's lower frequencies or more omnidirectional, higher frequencies, or sung note, lateral. There's some cool stuff if you Google this, man.
The directivity of human voice. I was thinking about it because, like, it's mostly coming from, I don't know if it's probably reverberating off our chest a little bit, right? Some
Right.
sounds coming from here, but most of it's coming out of your mouth, right? But I was thinking like our head is circular, and you said that if you were to ever design a speaker, you'd want to make a sphere.
Yeah.
Kind of like, maybe.
Man, your head is circular. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's all right, it's oval.
Let's see here. Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff. Here's an interesting graphic. I'm going to pull it up.
What is the directivity of the human voice?
Yeah.
You know, it'd be interesting is to make a speaker that has a similar directivity to it. I wonder what that would do.
What is the Chrome tab? That's it.
Yeah, I think human voice is actually a reference point for a lot of things.
You got to show it. You got to share it. It's not letting me
I
share
got
mine.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Look at that. But so what frequency is that? That's what I don't know. I bet you if I look through that page, it would tell me.
I mean, the
Polar patterns.
that
Kind of-
pattern on the left looks like a cardioid microphone pattern, which
Yeah.
makes sense.
So there's actually a reference.
Up though.
Ooh, hold on. Darn it. Where'd it go?
That was cool.
Is that it? That's it. There we go. What I highlighted. Polar patterns, human talker, reference, and then here's the reference. That's pretty neat.
Huh.
Oh, here you go.
Sure it is.
Dude, that's wicked.
Please tell us what that means.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at the screen right now. Let's go back to this one then. So this is a single frequency. I'm going to assume that it's the same color down here. 250 hertz, 250 hertz. All right. So what this is saying, this is a top-down view. And I'll move this mic because I'm looking down while I'm talking. So this one right here is, can you see my mouse?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, this is a top-down view, and it's saying that at 250 hertz, this is what the sound radiation looks like. So it's broad out in front and not quite as broad behind you.
Yeah.
And then vertically, it's broad out in front and kind of makes this profile. So if somebody's out in front of you,
Makes a profile of a head, huh?
yeah, it's interesting, right?
Imagine that.
Yeah. So if somebody's out in front of you, they're going to hear it better than they are if they're behind you and down on the ground, right? Or out in front of you horizontally and behind you. But then these are different frequencies. So it's basically saying it's like a monopole speaker, really, in the way that it directs higher frequencies more forward than it does lower frequencies. So the lower frequencies, there's some wraparound in the back, and then the higher frequencies, this blue one at 8 kilohertz, it's mostly frontal. So nobody's going to hear that 8 kilohertz if they're standing behind you,
Wow.
or to some degree.
Right.
So
That's
the
cool.
whole thing.
Like how the vertical one's kind of interesting. How it's not like a perfect circle. It's like a little bit more up on top and forward, and then some below.
Kind of follows the human head a little bit. The throat, has got to be responsible for that too. It's just pretty interesting.
And that's cool, man.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Cool that
I've
you
never
can-
looked at that before.
It's cool that you can understand this just by knowing how to read graphs on speakers.
Yeah. It's pretty common to have polar plots like that's what these are called for anybody who's wondering. It's called a polar plot. But Tool has some of that stuff in his book. I'm gonna close that out now.
Does he? I don't remember.
I don't know if he has speech, but he's got like different. I thought he did.
Every time
Guitars,
you say that, dude,
instruments.
I'm always thinking about the band. You're like, Tool's got that in his book. I'm like, really?
Violin.
Violins and other things have different. I bet more omni would be my guess.
Yeah.
A little bit more omni. I don't know.
JR says, ask a ventriloquist about directivity of the human voice. Very, very clever.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
they're doing some height effects, huh? Just
Yeah.
throwing it.
Dispersion will change based on the mouth shape, and especially if your speaker has a tongue, right?
Yeah. Ooh, this one's cool.
Why couldn't you record a speaker and play it back on a different speaker? Why couldn't?
I mean, you could, but wouldn't you be getting like some sort of coloration from the second speaker?
I think what the problem with that is just that whatever, a speaker's not going to be perfectly flat. So whatever changes it has, it kind of compounds on itself when you play it back through the same type of speaker. Kind of like when you make a photocopy of a photocopy, each one gets a little bit worse. So that's why in this example, you're recording once and comparing it to the person right away, So you're trying to minimize the loss.
Yeah, this one's interesting from the perspective of if you're trying to record it, so where do you hang your mic? 200, 500 hertz, doesn't really matter. 550 to 700 hertz. If you've got your mic hanging out over here, you're not going to pick anything up. You got it back over here. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's really interesting. And it kind of just goes to show you, that's one reason why people who often say that they want to hear the live sound off their playback system, just Chana knows, depends on how you mic it. It may not sound anything like it.
Yeah.
And that's not even including like the mastering and the mixing process. But if you mic this, if you put a single mic just over here, then it's not going to sound the same for all the frequencies.
Well, and that's why when they're miking up, let's say it's a string quartet, because this is looks like a violin player. They're miking up a string quartet. They're going to use multiple stereo microphones, and what a stereo microphone is like. This is a mono microphone. Every microphone is mono, so they're going to take two of these and put it either like this. So one capsule is facing this way, one's 90 degrees, or they're going to do 120 degrees like this, right in between the two, and then they'll have a few of those. Otherwise, they're not going to pick up all the frequencies like this is showing. So it's one of those things. Live recording live is very difficult, and that's why when it's done right like that hell freezes over.
Yeah,
it's just a really good live recording. So
well, I think it's important to also notice when people are talking about live recording, I think what they're saying is they like it when you're capturing some of the room acoustics. In my example, I'm saying to record very close, so you're trying to minimize the interaction with the room, right? By recording close, you're trying to make it sound as dry as possible. So the playback that you're going to get is only the dry signal of somebody's voice, but the room is what's adding the reverberation, but it also adds it to the human voice also. So anyway, very interesting stuff. It's interesting to see that the higher frequencies seems to always be pretty directional.
Yeah.
Right. I don't see any right now with those two examples where the high frequencies were omnidirectional. And so.
Oh man, that stuff is cool when you start looking into it.
Because it's easy to block the high frequencies too. Just having your body in the way is already going to eliminate that versus the bass.
Yeah. Have you ever measured?
Recording without you in the seat.
Yeah.
That makes a difference. Yeah.
Man, I forgot about that video actually. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about it because I just did some measurements the other night, playing around with this acoustic energy speaker that I'm reviewing, and it's just not good. And so I decided to try to do some in-room measurements and try different positions. I tried about 8 different combinations of positions, from putting the speaker against the wall to toe in to toe out to bring it off the wall to 6 feet away to 10 feet away. And then I was noticing that when I measured, sitting in the seated position versus out of the seated position, there was one particular resonance that didn't show up from the data. And I was like, well, that's my hand or something. That's something extra. Right.
Yeah. People are saying that we don't pay attention to you. Here, look, you're center stage. I'm listening.
Don't pay attention to me.
I don't know. Somebody in the comments said, poor Aaron. He's dropping all this knowledge and people aren't paying attention. I'm like, dude, I'm paying attention.
It happens both ways. I didn't pay attention to you earlier.
I know.
Yeah, it's all good. Next Chana won't be getting any attention, so it's fine.
I remember your old videos. You don't even remember your old videos.
I know, you're right. I'm glad somebody does. I sure don't.
Oh man. So yeah. So here's the thing. Do you think people like to watch your reviews on speakers that you don't like, stuff that measures poorly or stuff that measures really well? Like what do you think the response is like?
Yeah, so I actually kind of talk about that in the intro to my video, and I started off by saying negativity doesn't sell unless you let people know ahead of time. So if I just make a review and it's not a glowing review, people aren't going to know until they watch it, right? Like it's not going to be a tip off that they're going to say, oh, I'm going to watch this video, or I'm not going to watch this video because of X, Y, or Z. But if I do some clickbait stuff or I do something like that, then they're going to know, and it would be interesting. I don't know, though. I don't know if people are more interested in watching. I know they're interested in watching drama. So if I picked a fight with some other YouTuber, they would absolutely watch that. If I pick
Yeah,
a fight with a
there's a little
speaker,
bit
they
of-
might not.
We could pick. How about we pick a fight and just like we'll plan it though.
Dude, I will
Like
cut
we'll
you.
know, like be wink, wink. You know what I mean? You think that'll work?
I'm not
Nah.
even kidding, dude. I will shank you.
Yeah. I was we've talked about it before how people seem to like the negative stuff more.
Yeah.
And I think there's some nuance to that because I was watching a Elon Musk interview and they kind of asked him the same thing. They're asking about like, doesn't it seem like people are more interested in negative stuff? And he kind of mentioned how it might be evolutionary. How if something good happens, well, that's cool. That's good news. But if something's like might kill you, you have to pay attention. Like, oh, hold on, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's something to that, but maybe that's just more of the attention getter. Not that it's negative in the sense of it just you have to watch out. Maybe there's some danger ahead.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you treat something like that.
I thought it was interesting though. I was thinking about that in my recent video. I'm like, I could name the title "Upfiring Speakers Suck?" Or "Upfiring Speakers Work." I could have went either way, positive or.
Then there's also Aaron's audio corner sucks. There's also.
I bet that one would be a hit.
he's ready to go. He's like, "What are you doing, bro? You shaving?" Damn.
This is how I flip you off, Chana.
Bodie says I hate negativity. Yeah.
Frank says I like the positive reviews, especially when you explain what it is that you actually like about the product, and of course mention the not so good also.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I just finished this review and I'm just don't like the speaker.
You're scratching your armpit with that knife, bro. What's that? What's going on over there?
My armpit itches. Dude, my armpit itch.
I don't know if I want to go to Aaron's armpit corner.
I'm trying to make fart sounds with my armpit. You jerk. This is not audio. Oh, okay. So back to the audio. I just reviewed these speakers and I don't like them. And it's, like I start off the review kind of addressing the people who are going to be like, oh, you only do negative reviews. Like I don't only do negative reviews. It's just that if I don't like something, I'm not going to say I like it. I got to be honest. And it kind of gives you an idea of where my head is at least. If you like it, then hey, I'm not going to listen to Aaron anymore because I don't align with his views at all. But hopefully you can look at the data and just figure it out.
They're going to cancel you, bro.
Is it really negative though if you tell somebody, hey, be careful of this thing? If you're thinking about buying this, is that negative? Like I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, maybe not. I think to me it's all in the thumbnail and the title. Like how far, like I think I'm just going to title this one Not Exactly a Joyride. Like I was trying to come up with something besides I don't like this, right? Like so it's just like Chat GPT, tell me what to use. So they came up with that. I was like, all right, that'll work.
The issue though is when you're trying too hard to be careful of not being negative when something really sucks. You start going towards the middle and trying to be more safe with it. And next thing you know, you're not. Now you made a title that nobody clicks on. You're like this, like we were joking about Chana. Like this thing is okay. Like nobody's gonna click on that. It's all right. It's all right.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I guess it's a different mindset of is it really negative to warn somebody and show them that you actually care about their purchasing decision.
Yeah,
to me that's not negative.
Right.
And sometimes they don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what this guy. They're like, I'm buying it, regardless.
Yeah, that happens. I had somebody make a comment recently on like a video I did almost 2 years ago, and it was one that I didn't really care for. And the guy said, but yet you still have an affiliate link. And I replied, I was like, yeah, man, because you'd be surprised how many people still want to try something on their own, even if I don't like it. So why wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. If you want to buy it,
buy it.
Go ahead.
Buy it, break it, close it.
Buy it, buy it, try it.
Buy it, try it, bake it, break it.
Buy it, try it, break it, break it, break it, break it.
That was one of the best concerts I've ever seen.
Missy Elliott?
No, Daft Punk, dude. What do you call?
What are you talking about?
He's talking about something totally different.
Upgrade it, male upgraded, technologic. That's a Daft Punk song.
I get
Hold
both.
on.
of you. I know what both of you are talking about.
Do you? All right. So we're talking about different things at least. Okay, that works. I can
think,
hear it in my head.
Automatic, systematic, hypnotic, funky, fresh. Is that Missy Elliott or something?
No, I'm thinking of something else.
Sierra.
Oh, you're gonna kill him out to mute
three
y'all.
different things.
Dude, no, Technologic says buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, mail upgrade it. Right?
Oh my goodness.
That'll work.
Because you're like, just buy it. I'm like,
Oh
buy
my
it.
goodness.
Don't do it. There you go. But yeah, probably one of the best concerts ever. And since they are no more Daft Punk, then I was glad to be able to see it in 2006, in 2006, and 2007.
That's a while back.
Yeah. That's the only time they went live. They toured in 2000. They did Coachella in 2006, and then they toured in 2007. That was it. Crazy.
Somebody said we lost audio. I think it's because we were so accurate, right?
Yeah, probably.
It's way too accurate. They're like, oh, is there music playing here?
No, actually, who was that? Wendell? Somebody else said they lost the stream. Steven.
Yeah.
Lost transmission, and there's a got it back. What's weird? YouTube server bump.
Oh, that explains the. That explains
you know
somebody texted me and said you're not on there. I'm like,
it probably tried to play an ad, and you guys have some ad blockers. Really going on. You just called yourself out. It just glitched out for a second while it played an ad.
Yeah.
Anyway, all good. David with the super chat. He says, David says, I just bought 2 PB 2000 Pros. Output is the same compared to my Clips reference series sub. Do hit lower, but shouldn't the output be higher given their 550 watt versus Clips subs at 200 watts? So first of all, thank you for the super chat.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Are those wattages RMS or peak? Or I mean, I guess it'd be lame if it was a 200 watt peak.
What do you mean by the output should be higher? Because I think that it definitely should be higher based on the specs there. I don't know how many Clips reference subs you had. I'm assuming you had 2 as well. But
RMS, he says, okay.
Yeah, I don't know that I would judge it based on like output, you know? If it's balanced, if your system sounds great and you could turn it up as loud as you could possibly want to hear it, to me that's the goal, right?
Well, okay, so here he says the overall amount of bass sounds the same. Now, you know, if you want to go up, 3 decibels, you got to double the power, right? So if you had 2 subwoofers at 200 watts, and then you swap them, so you're only going up 3 dB per sub, so you're going up 6 dB, right? If that's the case, so that's not a lot, dude. That's not a lot. Like if those things were 1,000 watts a piece, then like the perceived difference in loudness will be more dramatic. Otherwise, 3 dB, 5 dB, 6 dB, it's hard to tell sometimes, and especially if you're not used to like just the subtle nature. I put subs in here and, played some Call of Duty over the weekend, and damn, it was awesome. It's awesome. Holy crap.
But that's coming from no subs.
Yeah, correct.
From 0 subs. So, David, I think that this might help you. If I just put, let's say, I don't know, 10 subs, but just a ton of subs in my system, I wouldn't want the bass to increase because my system is balanced already. My goal is not to increase the bass. Adding more subs is to smooth out the bass, right? And so that it sounds the same in all the different listening positions. At some point, it's not about volume. It's more about just a smoother response and trying to eliminate some of the issues caused by the room. So I think that's really the metric, I think with a PB 2000 Pros, if your room is, if it isn't a huge room, I think that they have more than enough output and they can play at reference volume in most normal sized rooms. And so you just want to balance out your system so it sounds appropriate, right? You don't want, I guess you can put extra bass, you know, you can have more bass, but
Just put
at a
that
certain point, I think it'll be louder than you'd want. I think.
pretty much.
So hopefully that helps. If it does, if it doesn't, you know, follow up, and I'll try to read through the comments here and give you a better answer.
I think what you're, you know, it's essentially it's like you got more headroom, you got more power, you got more headroom. But at the end of the day, you want the thing to be balanced. You don't want it to be overpowering, right? Like, you know, when the car drives by with the booming system, car drive by with the booming system, right? Like Aaron's Tesla now.
Yeah.
Outside of it,
boy.
all you hear is bass, and you're like, "Oh man, this sounds like crap." And then, like,
Dude, how dare you?
you go inside and sit down, and you're like, "Oh, actually, that's great. I can hear everything."
Oh,
Right? It's just, you know, it's one of those things. You don't want to have like just this, you know, obnoxious amount of bass. You want it to be balanced, and having that extra power just gives you more headroom for those dynamic shifts in your content, you know, whether it's music or movies. Yeah.
We have another super chat too.
Oh snap! Who's that? Who's that? Hi Finest. Thank you so much for the super chat. Have you guys seen HD Movie Sources tutorials on multi-EQ X imports? I followed it and found I needed 10p EQ filters as much as 18 dB cut. Is it too much?
Yeah, I've watched them. So he talks a lot about our spatial toolkit and how it's useful to him.
I met him in North Carolina. He was there at Audio Advice.
Yeah,
Nice
yeah.
guy.
We worked together on his system before. You know, because when Multi-Q-X first came out, I had been playing with it for a while, and so he wanted to, you know, kind of go over it with me. So we did like a one-on-one session where, you know, we went over some of that stuff, and it seems like he took what he learned from our discussion, he took it to his own on a different level, which is awesome. Yep. I think I love that sort of thing. But yeah, he does some good stuff, and basically what I've told him is the thing that he's doing really, I think is a correct thing to do, is with Multi-Q-X, he's excluding the measurements that Odyssey is taking. You know, a lot of people think that Multi-Q-X is just, to tweak the system a little bit more than the editor app. You know, it just gives you a few things to do. Actually, the biggest thing I think it does is the fact that you can exclude anything that Odyssey does and then import your own custom curves and correction filters. To me, that's the strength of it. And that's what he does. So he measures with REW, then he imports them, excluding all of the Odyssey measurements. And the reason I say that that's important is because I found that the Odyssey measurements are they're not in line with what I'm getting with REW. When I measure both from the main listening position, I look at them, I'm like, these aren't the same. You know, I've actually went and I traced out the graph, right? So you can't export from Multi-Q-X, but I've traced out the graph, put it on, you know, this website where it takes the points and then it gives you a text file. And I've taken the text file and imported that into REW. So it's an exact, pretty close, pretty exact, right? And when I compare them, I'm like, it's not the same measurement. So if it's making corrections off a measurement that I don't think is accurate, then whatever it does to correct it is also not going to give you an accurate result. So as far as the rest of his question, I followed it and found I needed 10 PEQ filters as much as 18 dB cut. Is that too much? Sounds like a lot. It depends on where the cut is. You know, if you have a huge bass rise, I guess, you know. It sounds like a lot though. It does sound like a lot. I think it'd depend on where it needs to cut. So if it's an 18 dB cut at, you know, higher frequency, it's kind of weird. If it's 18 dB cut at I don't know, what's a typical frequency where bass gets boosted, maybe around like 40 hertz or something like that in a room. Yeah, around 40 hertz ish. If it needs to cut there, I guess it sounds like a lot though. It does sound like a lot to me. Aaron, do you think that's a lot for a required cut for PEQ 18 dB?
18, that seems like a lot. I mean, that certainly seems like a lot. I don't know.
In car audio, do you ever have to cut
18 decibels? No, man. I don't think I've ever seen a need for 18 decibels of cut. I mean, the only way I can imagine that is if you're measuring with the RTA set in, gosh, somebody's blowing me up right now. The resolution is like super, super high, maybe 1/24th or 1/48th octave or something like that, where, you know, normally when you have smoothing enabled, it'll kind of smooth that over. It won't be quite as steep. And then if you have that resolution turn on really high, it'll make that cue more narrow and it'll shoot it straight up. So it might look much worse than it really is. But that would be the only way I can imagine having 18 decibels of cut required to get down to the rest of the frequencies that kind of line up with that general trend line, if that makes
18
sense.
dB. That's a lot.
Yeah, you know, you make a good point though. Depending on the smoothing that you use, right? So I would usually recommend taking a look at least psychoacoustic smoothing just to get an idea. Like, is this a place you really need to cut that much, or is it? Would you hear that much? Would you hear 18 dB, or is it surrounded by other frequencies where you probably wouldn't notice the 18 dB cut? So I think that's one case where you might want to take a look at some different smoothing to see if that is actually necessary. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if it didn't. What else we got here? Well, there was a follow-up here from David. So he says he just thought that he would hear slightly more bass in some scenes and he gets less with the PB 2000 Pro. And it could just be that subwoofer interacts with your room differently. Or maybe it doesn't have a peak. The other ones may just have a huge peak. We've seen that in subs. Yeah. Huge peak, and then you get one that's flat and you're like, oh, I'm getting less bass. I'm like, you're getting better bass. You're getting better bass.
Could be trying to disappear for a minute. Yeah. So if the subwoofer is in the exact same spot, then I don't know the exact subwoofer he's talking about. I saw him mention clips versus SVS, but I don't know the specs on the models. But I would assume that if one is rated higher, then you would have more output. So,
yeah, I don't know about those specific subs either, but I know that I have measured somewhere. They're just really peaky subs. Like if they don't utilize DSP to flatten out the response, they're just like a huge, like 50 hertz, boom.
Yeah,
40
like
hertz.
Clips ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying like the Clips ones could have a peak in them, right?
I don't know about.
You don't know, but it's possible.
Ones. Yeah.
The other thing too is that I'll just check the gain structure of the system. It's very possible that the gain needs to be increased for the newer subwoofers. I mean, that could be as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think the answer is to really tune the PB 2000 Pro so it sounds appropriate with your system, and whether it's louder is not necessarily the benchmark, right? It should be loud enough to play all the frequencies, all the bass that you want evenly. That's what you really want. Whether it's louder and more surprising, the other one is not really the thing, because sometimes more bass can initially sound better. You know, it's more impressive, and when something hits, but then if you listen to music, you're like, oh, that's actually too much.
Then I would expect that the new one, if the gains were set the same as previous or more, then you should have more output.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, an explosion on a movie, we don't really know how much bass that's supposed to have. So but if you listen to some music, it's a good way of telling if it's too much. Listen to some music too. What else we have here? I worked with Ed Mullen at SVS on my REW config. Okay, just trying to look at the comments here. Chana, you got some new subs in there.
Yeah. You want me to talk?
You can just quickly mention it.
Let's see. I had the I've had the PB 1000 Pro. I've had the PB 4000, SB 1000, the whole hodgepodge of SVS subwoofers. Right now, I've got these ELAC I just changed my video title to Big Bada Boom from The Fifth Element. I was just like, oh hey, let's see here, you guys. So I referenced, the photo, the infamous photo, and then I took some footage in the wild of these things, and just running it through the LFE track on our crossover section, and oh man, my brother's calling me. I was actually very impressed with the way the subwoofer just went down to, it played to like 20, 16. It was still like shaking parts of the house. And this is a 10. This is a 10, 500 watt RMS, and going down to like, what is it? 18, I think, is the spec number. Yeah. The 12, oddly enough, with the sale that they got going on, let's get this guy out of here. What is he doing? The sale they have going on right now, the 12 is $150 more than the 10. So
okay.
if you're already there, and the 12 goes down to 17. And what is it? The 2000 is a 12 also, right?
Yeah. So I reviewed those speakers, and then Chana needed some subs. I'm like, dude, just take these. You can review them. I'm sure the ELAC guys will be pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But when you called me, and what did you say?
Immediately, I said, dude. He's like, what? I'm like, these subs, bro. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
they're so good. Like, so I started off with the 10. I did the spatial toolkit. Where's my toolkit? I did spatial toolkit to dial them in to 82 and a half. Yeah, they were hitting 82 and a half, 83. And then, I don't have any movies here just yet. This silly, what do you call it? This not Zapiti. What is it called? The Revolution player should be here, but it's not here yet. Anyway, I didn't have all that, and all the streaming stuff. The volume's just so low, so I was just like, screw it. I'm gonna have to check them out later with some movies later. But I did have Call of Duty. Excuse me, and yeah, I put everything. I made everything 75 dB at 0 master volume, and then so at -10, I was playing this game, and damn, it was awesome. And I was just like, holy crap! Like, this 10 was working, and then I bumped it up to 0, like straight up reference. 85 dB running hot, right? And every time, like, it scared the crap out of me sometimes, because all of a sudden an explosion happens right next to me. I'm like, I hear it from the surround, and then the subwoofer just rumbles the whole place. And I was having a blast. My mom rolls up here. She's like, "This is too loud." I'm like, "Oh, sorry." And she's like, "You're gonna wake everybody." I'm like, "It's 8:30, Mom. Like, what's going on?" Like 8:30 p.m. Like, she's like, "Oh, okay, it's not late." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna just blast it like at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So
What you wanted, Mom?
I was having and the C6 was doing a great job. This monolith C6 was doing a great job with all that gunfire, bop, 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 like that I was, causing in the game. And then I was just like, hey, wait a second. Let me plug in the 12. Let me dial that sucker in. So I did that, dialed it in, and I was like, whoa. And then finally, I played the game for like 15 minutes. I'm like, wait, I'm an idiot. Let's put both of them in. And then, holy shit, like, it was just, I was just like, like, it was so much fun. Like, I think I played Call of Duty for like 2 hours straight. I'm like, and it was just loud as shit. I'm just, and I could like hear everything happening around me. I'm like ducking and dodging, and it's in Atmos. I have the 2 Atmos, and this is multiplayer. This isn't just like the what do you call it? The like campaign. So it gets nutty. it gets nutty, and you got teammates. Go to B, go to B, go to B. You know, because we're playing the domination gameplay. So you have to there's 3 sectors you got to go handle business over there. Anyway, I since I don't have a movie to watch, getting this experience out of this video game was actually pretty awesome. And with both of those subwoofers working, they were working. And it's not like they're huge either. I think the 10-inch is almost like a little 12-inch cube. The 12, it's got a pretty hefty bezel around it. I'm looking at it right now.
They're about the same size as the SB3000.
Which one?
Somewhere around there.
The 12?
I think the 12.
No, this looks bigger than that. The enclosure looks.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I remember your SB3000.
Yeah. Maybe the 10 is about the same size as the SB3000,
Yeah,
which is crazy because the SB has a 13-inch driver. It's probably a 12. I don't know. You know how they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, that's cool, man. I just told you for your review, you should just say "dude" in the same exact way that you said it.
That's exactly what I did.
That sells me. I don't need any measurements. Just the way you said "dude."
I'm like, should I take measurements? He's like, no, leave that to Aaron. I'm like, okay,
bro.
Yeah, leave the measurements to him.
Did you see my thumbnail? It's a subwoofer and it says "dude." So good.
Yeah, and I think it's important because you have heard many subs, right? You've heard more expensive subs. You've heard ridiculous setups. So for you to say "dude" is a little bit different than just a guy who's used to TV speakers, hearing them say "dude." Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've had those dual 15s in my living room. I've had the Miller and Kreisel subwoofers. I've had the Perlisten one, the single 15. Had that one.
Yeah, those are some big boy subs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are some high price stuff. It's funny, even the speakers that are I'm looking around the room here, not moving around the room, just looking. Aaron, I'm gonna kill you. These speakers are less than $1,000 for 5 of them. Maybe even the high channels too. Around $1,000. That's pretty legit setup. Finally adding the subwoofer. Okay, so let's see if I added both subwoofers at $1,000. So at $3,000, compared to the $10,000 in just speakers, and then another $6,000 in a sub. Dude, $15,000. What? What? That's
Wait till we do that. I gotta go there and tune it, do some magic beans on it, and then we'll see what you think. But when we talked, you're like, "Hey, these Encore speakers are pretty awesome." I'm like, "Yeah, man. What do you think I've been saying?" I'm like, "Did you think that I was, did you think I didn't know what I was talking about?" No, I believed you.
But I'm just surprised. Dude, the fact that these things are $120 a pop. That's what really kills me. I'm like, oh, I could see them easily selling these things for $600. And their retail's $399. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then just Target just blew them out. You guys got to watch out we got to watch out for Target. They're going to have toolkits up there for $45.
I know.
Some random stuff. But yeah, man, I'm very, very surprised about this little system that I got here. I also did get here's the toolkit.
We got to make a video. I'll go tune that up. Somebody in our after show asked if we could do a comparison between Dirac Live, Odyssey Multi-Q X with Magic Beans versus the editor app.
Yeah.
You've had all of them. So you've had Dirac in your system. So
can we get damn, this receiver can't get Dirac. I have the RCam here. We can put the RCam in.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? I have an external amp, so.
Well, I also have a mini DSP DDRC88, so we can kind of at least do ear level speakers with Dirac Live, do a comparison.
Yeah, we can do that.
What you call it? Target's gonna be selling it. Aaron, what's your latest video? You did a review of Vanatu.
Yeah, those Vanatu speakers.
And so these are a newer version of their what? Because I know they have two. They have the
they got the
2.0
0 and the 1 Encore, and so the new ones are just the plus. So 0 Plus and 1 Encore Plus. So I reviewed both of those, but then I also reviewed Ascend Acoustics Sierra 1 V2, and that's an awesome speaker. That's more like I hate to call it like a DIY company, but it kind of seems more like it's not like a big manufacturer like a JBL or an Emotiva or something like that.
Mhm.
They I guess I don't know how else you would describe it, but there's like an in-house company, direct to consumer, all that kind of stuff. But they're awesome, dude. Those things are awesome, and they're just under $1,000 per pair. I don't think there's a better speaker that's in that price range. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, they're pretty awesome.
And the Vanitude, that's a real small operation, two dudes.
No, those Vanitudes are super small. I've got them behind me somewhere.
Gary and Rick.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I was just about to send them an email to tell them that I'm going to have their speakers back to them at the end of the week. So that when they sent them to me, they gave me prepaid shipping levels, which is
I know you like that.
I mean, that's awesome, dude. I love that. It's so easy because then I don't have to bother them. Be like, hey, I need to send these back. Send me a label, and then wait for months.
Yeah.
And I've got stuff just taking up space.
That should be a hint to people what it's like to be an audio reviewer when you're happy when they give you an opportunity to send the speakers back. It's like, oh, you get to keep them. I'm like, yeah, I would prefer them to take them back. Actually, I'm sure that's weird for a lot of people to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the Vanitudes, you seem to like the first one. I watched that one. I didn't watch this most recent one, but I have to because I reviewed the original T1 Encore speaker. I reviewed that one a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they were just a little bit bright when I reviewed those. And I'm assuming that they made some changes.
I think they fixed that with the 0, but the 1 Plus is still kind of that way. It's still got a bump up there.
Mhm.
If I remember correctly. Hold on. I may be getting two different speakers confused here. But I think that was the case. There's still kind of a little bit of a bump in that 4 to 6 sibilance range.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the first time I ever talked to a company. I talked to Gary, and they were just talking about, the CEA 2034, and I'm like, that's cool to hear that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I bet I could call a bunch of companies and they'd be like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
Like, well, how do you not know what that is?
Right.
Don't you make speakers?
Yeah. It's interesting. Very interesting when that happens.
So yeah, man. Anything else? What else in the chat before we go? Because we're almost up in an hour. Anything in the comments here?
We have some. Hey Joe, are you going to do a video on REW's update?
Am I going to do a review? Probably not. All I know is you should support that app because they offer it for free, and that thing does so much. It's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, I did see some of the updates, and I haven't just gone in there and tried all the different things that it can do. What else?
Reality is our reference needs to be your tagline for Magic Beans.
It's not bad. That's not bad. I may use it for advertising.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Did you guys see Phil Jones' Odyssey Multi QX tutorial, that like 5-hour one? I saw a little bit of it, and then I was just like, I don't think it's 5 hours
over there. And I still say Sound United. I'm not gonna say Massimo. I don't care.
Massimo.
But yeah, it's him, Phil, and Cal. Those guys were cool. When we went over to Sound United, Cal showed the family around and kept them busy while Phil and I were talking about Magic Beans and doing Magic Beans on their system. Anyway,
I want to try some upfiring ELACs in my secondary system. Will be limited to 3.1.2. Now will SACT work with that? Got to fake a 512. Yeah, I mean, if you just run the 512, it's just gonna have surround speaker. You just ignore the surround speaker part, and then that's it.
You know what I would recommend? Well, 3.1.2 if he can, to me, I think the best place to put the upfiring speakers, and maybe any height speakers if you only have two, is in the middle.
In the middle of the room, yeah. Or
Yeah.
above you.
And not in the front, not in the back, in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that.
So you're saying my Atmos setup here is wrong, Joe?
Probably.
Oh
my gosh.
Next thing you're gonna have your other clip speakers next to your bed right there with a light stand.
Yeah, exactly. Marv says a lot of speaker reviewers think they created the music they listen to. Interesting. I actually do. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. No, they want to remix it. You know what I mean? They're the mixers.
Oh,
They don't like the way it was mixed initially, and then they like to use maybe the speaker tonality to change it up and make it even better.
Oh, I see the like bass and treble knobs.
Yeah.
The equalizer. That was for the home mixer, right?
Mm-hmm.
The home mixer. All right, let's see here. Shauna, Aaron, Joe, do you guys have a thick absorption treatment in your rooms for standing waves and so on? I got a bunch of silk rugs here.
What's SBIR again, Aaron? Something Rian.
Can't remember now. Yeah, I really don't remember.
I know what it is.
Yeah, I don't remember what it actually stands for now, and I always get it confused with something else. The I is what always throws me off because it does. I always want to say infrared.
Speaker boundary interference response.
There you go.
Okay.
Wow.
So first, it's the cancellation coming from the back wall. Is that it? Combining with the front wave and canceling. Is that what it?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't have thick absorption treatment in your room, except for in the studio. I have the whole front wall is 4-inch foam panel.
Yeah.
What if I want this mic to not pick up a bunch of reverberance from this back wall?
Did you? But what's in your garage though?
Nothing.
No, but you have that stuff on the floor, so that definitely does something.
That foam is just for because we use it as a gym.
Yeah,
It's
but I mean, that's better
treatment. You know what I mean?
But it's better than the concrete that was down there.
So, yeah, for sure.
So it covers
Floyd Toole talks about it in the book. He's like, for most people, just put up like normal stuff, like put up some curtains and just put stuff into the room. Like normal stuff will help a lot.
Yeah, if you have
an empty room is the worst, right?
That would be your bass trap, right?
But if you have all the stuff that you want in your room, normal stuff, and it's still too reverberant, then yeah, of course, treatment is the way to fix that. I just don't have any in this place. If I had a dedicated theater, yeah, I got to do it. You know, you can do everything you need to do. Do you have any treatment in there, Aaron?
No, I do not. I do not. Not in here.
Yeah, you're probably not ready to review any. Some people's speakers. You're probably not ready because.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that video.
You're not ready. You're not ready. Oh, okay. No, I'm not gonna cause no drama. I thought that was funny though.
Yeah.
Oh man. Did you ever have any other treatment in your?
I did. Yeah, my home theater. I had panels on the walls and some bass traps set up in the corners in the back of to the back of the front of the room. You're looking toward it, so it'd be the front wall behind the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And then in my clipple room right now, I've got bass traps in all the corners and panels and stuff because the room's really small. So having that kind of stuff helps to shorten the time that it takes to measure, because otherwise it needs more measurements to figure out what's what here. And then with bass traps and stuff, it brings those resonances down, so I can measure more quickly that way. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
What do we got?
All right, sorry. Here's another question. I'm moving into a smallish apartment and just bought 4 prime SVS prime elevation speakers for a true Atmos setup. Any advice on where to place them on my ceiling for the best results?
Go ahead, Shauna. Attack.
I wouldn't put them on your ceiling, but I would do the front height above your front left and right, rear height above your rear left and right. Now, if you have, you might have to like angle those in. If they're like, if yours is anything like my place was, where your couch is back up against the wall, then then because those prime elevations have the angled baffle, so you might want to turn them sideways so they're like coming at you. Otherwise, they just be going further into the room and missing your head altogether.
I would actually say I've had those. I've had those 4 of them mounted on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And what I found is, and I've said this before, the worst response on those speakers is above the tweeter. Like that's where the response is the worst. So because they're angled, right, and you have them on the ceiling, typically you're at the worst location, right? If you're above the tweeter, right? And so you may want to experiment with trying to get the off-axis response from the side. It looks weird and doesn't sound intuitive, but you may want to play around with moving it side to side and see if you can hear a difference. But yeah, if you want to put them on the ceiling, you can do that too, depending on their ceiling height. We advocate for about a 30-degree separation, just because I personally like the coherence between the ear level and the height speaker. When it moves up, I want to hear it better coherence. Some people like more of a height effect, right? More exaggerated, and so I can't hear you.
It's more obvious that way.
Yeah, it's more obvious. They put it
up there. It's Superman.
There he is.
I'm cool with it. All of it, like whatever you want to use, experiment as what I would say. If you can get some mic stands like Sean, or some kind of have somebody hold them up there.
Yeah,
play some spatial toolkit. Hey, why not, right? Before you screw that thing in, play a test tone from the spatial toolkit into that one speaker. Play some music out of that. I guess you can't play it out of one speaker unless you disconnect the rest, but play some stuff out of there and move it around and see where does it sound the best to you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Reverend Slim says the baffle angle on them is 20 degrees. So if you put them on ceiling, either bring them in closer to MLP 55 degrees or use articulating brackets. Yeah. Mike says having front stage vertical cohesion is nice. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what else we got? We got a few more here.
There's a few more starred ones. Yeah. So we did that guy. I went from my SB 3000s after waiting for a few months to save up a little cash. Will be full 5.2.4 by the weekend. Hopefully my itch will be scratched for a few.
Oh yeah.
Those
are good. Those are good subs.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Ever seen a movie with live music? I mean, like a concert show, yeah. What is the name? The Prague one, the Dolby Atmos one.
Oh yeah.
Live in Prague. That was a good one. The Tim Reynolds and Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds from the Radio City Music Hall is a good one. The guy that mixed so I went to Sweetwater Studios to do a Dolby Atmos mixing masterclass with this guy Nick Reeves. He mixes he does all the spatial mixes for Billie Eilish and Phineas and all that kind of stuff. Her new song that was in the Barbie movie, when it's the songs so he mixed the song in Atmos. When the song is in the movie, the song is not in Atmos. They wouldn't let the song be in Atmos, even though the movie's in Atmos. It was just kind of weird. And I wonder why they did that. Well, watch out for that speaker behind you, Aaron. It's
just like, hey, what's that noise back there?
Last start question of the night. The important one right here.
Yeah.
From the true voice of reason.
Aaron, big question of the night is it safe for you to stand up?
I don't want to know.
I don't want to be facing forward and scare you guys, make y'all feel bad.
Oh, yeah. We don't need to
What
see
is that shirt under there? Can I see?
It's an old JL audio shirt.
What the heck?
Yeah, dude.
I want one.
All right,
so that's it. That's it. I think we answered a lot of questions. We talked about some of the stuff that we've been up to and more. We went off on various tangents.
Are we going to talk about, did anybody get anything cool for Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Did you guys do any of that kind of nonsense?
Oh, man.
No.
You know what? You guys want to
you did.
geek out on something? There it is.
Oh.
It's a 1 terabyte USB 3.0 thumb drive that uses an internal SSD. This thing is nuts, bro. It was like $200 off. It was awesome. So I got that guy.
Crazy.
There you go.
Since there's nothing here.
That's good to have.
Yep. And you know,
Okay.
we gotta have these things to test out our my Atmos mixes on.
Mhm.
And then mom decided to pick up a TV. So
There you go.
and Best Buy was here at like 8 a.m. I'm
That
like,
works.
wow.
I bought a bunch of camera and video production stuff, so nothing of interest to most people here, probably.
Yeah.
Just lights like that.
That works.
Anyway, join the Daily HiFi Crew if you want to join the after show that I'm about to jump into right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
After show.
if you want to listen to the audio only version of this podcast, go to anchor.fm/Daily HiFi if you don't want to see our beautiful faces. Speaking of these other two. And what else? If you want to support, you can go to shop.dailyhifi.com and pick up some merch and show that you're representing for the Daily HiFi Crew. That's it. That's what we got. That's what we got. And I'm always happy to see Aaron. Good to see you, Aaron.
Good seeing you.
Yeah,
You
thanks.
guys almost match.
Dr. Drew. I know. They said that, huh?
Y'all look cute.
See you guys in the after show.
Holla.
Chana, you want to take us out? Do our outro?
I mean, you were all like doing it all, so I'm like,
Oh, well, you need to finish it up, otherwise it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out. We do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern on the Daily HiFi YouTube channel. If you're watching on the replay, if you're watching or listening on Anchor FM and you want to have some questions answered, or just be here for the fun, make sure you go to youtube.com/Daily HiFi, subscribe up, and we'll see you in the show. For those of you going to the after show, we will see you in just a few. And for those of you that are not, we will see you next week.
See ya.